Hey, my name's Katrina. Haven't done a video in a minute. I've been going through some things. My dad, he is in prison. And in 2014, I think it was June 4th, he contacted me. And then I fell into like the worst depression I've ever had. I no longer cared about anything. It wasn't, I didn't care, I just didn't have the ability to get up and show that I cared. And not getting up and showing that I care made it worse. So, him contacting me, I thought I was fine. I thought that, there wasn't nothing wrong with me, that I was this conqueror of, all this stuff, and that I came out perfectly fine, and I was like the only one without a problem. Then, April 25th, and I think today is May 2nd. Let me see. Yes, today is May 2nd. So, April 25th, a few days ago, he contacted me again. And we're in 2020. So, I don't even know what I'm feeling. I have no clue. I talked to a parole officer. He said to contact the prison to let them know that he was gaining access to, social media, and that, I don't know, basically that he was in contact with one of his victims. So I contacted the prison, and I basically just got the runaround. The first time I called, I asked to speak to the deputy warden of security. The lady wanted me to confirm, what inmate it was that I was calling about, and I told her. And then she told me to call back in about 20 minutes so that she could find someone for me to talk to. So I called back in about 20 minutes, spoke to another lady. She said because I didn't know his full date of birth, that she, or his like different numbers for the prison, whenever he sent me a message, he sent me his address so that I could send him mail. And as harmless as that is, I understand that if you're in prison, you just, maybe you want to make amends, maybe, I don't know. Whenever he contacted me in 2014, it was this, he had this 10-page letter that he sent to my uncle's house because I wouldn't give him my location. And it was basically how he was my protector, how he was protecting me from things, that how me and him were actually supposed to be married, and all this crazy stuff about how like he sees these visions and everybody is against it, and it's the truth and it's gonna happen whether I'm trying to fight it or not. So now in 2020, him just sending an address is it's kind of scary. I still see him, in my mind, he is this big monster. And I know he's not even a big man. He's only like 5'5", 5'6". According to his prison records, he only weighs about 160 pounds, 170. So he's not very big. And granted, today, if he was to come after me, like physically, I could probably handle myself. But in my mind, he is not this average size man. He is a lot bigger because I was a child. The last time I seen him, I was 8 years old. I see him as I was 8 and he was in his 30s. So I know I've grown since then, but in my mind, he is still this big monster that I can't defeat. I don't know if I am like getting depressed again. I don't even know how I feel right now. I feel a little betrayed because the second lady I talked to told me that she couldn't verify who I was talking about because I had none of the correct information, and their inmates don't have phones or social media, so the information I was probably given was inaccurate. And I'm telling this lady, he does have a phone. He is contacting me on Facebook. He is liking my pictures. So I went through, and my Facebook was already pretty secure. So I went through and secured it even more to where basically if we're not friends, you don't get to see anything. And I don't, a lot of people would say, do you even have a Facebook having a father out there like that? Well, when he was put in prison, I was supposed to be safe. My children, if I was to have any, was supposed to be safe because this man is behind bars. He's not allowed the things that we are out here. And I understand with someone that maybe robbed somebody or something and they just want to speak to their kids, or maybe their grandmother's sick or something like that. I understand that these people just want to communicate, and not everyone can pay $10 a phone call. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. And I understand that most people in prison, they come from low income families. And doing little things like this is pretty much the only way that they can talk to their loved ones. But there's some people in there, and this is a high maximum security prison. They don't need a phone. They don't need to be able to contact their victims. I was going to give him a letter, and now basically if I initiate contact with him, then he is free to contact me. Whether my contact is me sending him a letter and saying leave me alone, I'm still initiating contact. So that order stays in place. I can't send him a letter saying, this is going to be the first and the last time you hear from me. I'm fine, leave me alone. Because then it opens up a whole nother world of stuff I don't even want to deal with. Someone had told me, if I wanted to talk, that I could talk to him. And they were like, what's wrong with you? And they were like, well, it can't be your dad because he's in prison and he just contacted you a couple times. And it's just like, this man molested and tortured me for the first 8 years of my life. It affects me. It affects me a great deal. And then they're just like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that, but what I'm going through isn't something a normal person goes through. It's not something that everybody thinks about. My daughter constantly tells me, the world isn't as bad as you think it is, Mom. If you would just let me go out to these parties and be able to be a teenager, then I could have a normal life. And I try to make sure that she's not taken advantage of and she's not put in the positions that I was, and that she doesn't see herself as I did whenever I was a little younger. I didn't feel the need to say no to sexual relations with people that I didn't want to have sex with, because what was the point? Somebody else had done forced their way onto me, and no wasn't a response that you could have. I'm trying to do a lot of positive stuff. I've been painting the cabinets and stuff like that, trying to keep my mind off of all of this, but not thinking about it too. I just know it's there. I know it's something that's going to catch up with me, and even in my dreams, I'm having dreams of him getting out and me, having to run for my life. But in my dreams, he's also this big monster. He's this big man, and I'm this little kid, and I just can't get away from him. My greatest fear probably is that he is doing something inappropriate with the images of my children that he's seen on Facebook. And knowing that I was the one that put their pictures there, for somebody to do that to them, even though they don't know it, it doesn't hurt them. I will probably never tell them. I did go through, they don't have Facebook, but I did go through their other forms of social media to make sure that nobody with his name, even close to his name, or anything that looks suspicious, they were deleted, they were taken off. I just don't know what to do about it. The parole officer also told me to call the victims something of something. I called them the first time I got transferred to a department and it rang and went busy. The second time, it just rang busy. The third time, like, I went through a different department to try to speak to someone instead of just, it ringing and going busy. And he told me that he would transfer me, and it rang and went busy again. So I let him know that basically I got nowhere in anything that I tried to do. And the lady that I talked to from the prison basically acted like I didn't know what I was talking about, that it wasn't really him contacting me. And I'm telling her, he is sending me his full address. I have proof right here. It's him. Somebody has a phone in your prison and you need to get it. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like a little kid again, trying to tell people something's not right and nobody's listening. In a way, this really has put some stuff into perspective. Things that would like really get up under my skin, and realizing how insignificant they really are. Like, there's no sense in fighting about something you're not going to remember 6 months from now. There's no sense in arguing with someone or trying to get them to see your point of view, whether you feel yours is right or wrong. If you have a point of view, you probably feel it's right, but there's no sense in trying to get someone else to see your point of view if in 5 years from now, they're probably not even going to be a part of your life. There's no sense in getting angry at my kids for the stage that they're in and their unconsciousness or their way of looking at things that are so innocent whenever they're not going to be innocent forever. And I should probably just be happy that I have innocent children, because some people don't. My mom wants me to delete my Facebook. She told me back in 2014 to delete it. I didn't. I told her I was tired of hiding. I was tired of running. I was tired of my life being changed because of him. It had been changed my entire life because of things that he had did, or, whenever we lived with him, the ideas and thoughts that he had, everything always got changed around. We had to get up and move just because he did something bad, or we had to lie and hide, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I told her I wasn't going to let him control my life anymore. After that, I got put on a lot of medication because I started having like severe anxiety. I didn't want to go to sleep at night because I was having like these crazy demonic dreams. And these are like dreams that I had whenever I was a kid, like the same type of dreams. I didn't want to go out in public. I worked as a direct sales rep for Comcast, and just knocking on somebody's door just made me so scared. And it didn't help that I was in a small town, and supposedly this house had Comcast way back when, and so I went to go knock on the door and the guy had a gun. After that, I was very terrified and started realizing the dangers of having that kind of job, where you go door to door to where, all they have is a GPS signal. And what if you leave that GPS signal? Yeah, they have a they have a way to track where you were, but who's to say that they're ever going to find your body, or if there's ever going to be any justice for you after you're dead. And it's not like it even really matters, once you're not here anymore. But I don't know. I just don't know what to do. They're supposed to be going through the prison and shaking them down and getting the device away from him. If they don't find it, after he told me that, the very next day, anything he could possibly see on my account, which was pretty secure, but my featured photos weren't, my background photos weren't. He could see, any profile picture I've had, and he just started going through and liking it all. I blocked him on Facebook, but not on Messenger, because I need proof that it's him contacting me. And if it says Facebook user because I deleted him, then he is unable to message me again the next time he gains access to a device to contact his victims. I also found out through this that he's going to be coming up for parole soon, and it's only on he's about to finish his first 30 years. He's got another 30 years and then a 20-year sentence. They want records of it so that whenever he goes up parole for his next 30, they can say that he's contacted his victims. So basically, I feel like I'm bait, that my children are bait, so that he doesn't get out before he's too old to be able to harm anyone. Thinking about it, everybody that he could hurt, it's just a small sacrifice, but it's hard living constantly scared of someone and scared of people like him, because you don't know how many people like that are out there. You don't know if whenever you're in Walmart, if someone is looking at your children in a way that they shouldn't, and just the thought of it going through your mind. It's something you don't want to think about. I don't know. Hopefully they get the phone from him. Supposedly suffering is a catalyst for healing. So, I have wanted healing from this for a very long time. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is a way to look at the parts of me that's been hidden for so long and to let them come to light. Anyway, I'm getting off here. Y'all have a good day. Check your Facebooks, I guess, your social media accounts. The name is Stephen Gotti. He has a picture of a hot dog with mustard on it as his Facebook profile picture. If he's contacting you, his real name is Stephen Alton Graham. And he was given 80 years in prison for the things he did to me as a child. And definitely don't let him see pictures of your children. Y'all have a good day.